All right, it's time for some rookie ROI. And today we're going to cover Cedric Coward of the Memphis Grizzlies, who has been, I think, inarguably a top 3 rookie in this class. If you hear his story, if you're not familiar by now as a kid, Division 3 to Division 1, last year only played 6 games and then has this unbelievable pre-draft process where he had committed to Duke, transferring there, and then it was up in the air whether or not he was going to stay, and then he stayed and was a lottery pick. So this unbelievable trajectory. And he was a guy that we've known about for a while. We've been monitoring for a while. Maxwell wrote about him for No Stone Unturned a couple of years ago. And then you and I actually got a chance to see him a little bit in LA during the pre-draft cycle. And I remember shaking his hand and just going, oh my God, he has mitts. These are the biggest hands that I've ever shaken hands with. And then you looked at his frame, you saw how wide his shoulders were, how long he was. And you were just like, yeah, this kid's got it. So do you remember where he was at on your board last year?
Oh, I think for my last board, I might have had him at like 16 or 12, or I can't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had him at 10.
Okay.
Ending the year. And he wasn't on my board for a lot of the year because I was like, well, he played 6 games and like he transferred to Duke. He's probably just going to go play with Boozer, win a national title, and then go be a lottery pick. And then turns out he didn't need any of that. And man, he has been unbelievable to start the year, like almost to the point where it's like, even if you were high on him, like you weren't high enough is where I'm at with him. Yeah. What have you seen this year from him? And has it surprised you?
Okay, so Corey, we both saw him in LA when we went to Kobe Bryant's workout and Yegor Dioman. I also got to see him at his pro day at the Lakers facility for Life Sports Agency. Shouts to them. They're great partners. They've been very kind to us. Seeing him there. So the way that workout went, it was like Elijah Martin, Nick Clifford, John Blackwell, a lot of those guys, they were like in their own group. I think, and then there was a bigger group with like John Blackwell and other guys, and then a smaller group with Neek, Elijah Martin, and Ryan Nembhard. And then the last part of the workout was just Cedric Coward by himself. He came out super late, but that was all intentional. They were keeping him in a side gym working by himself.
He was recovering from that injury still.
Correct. He was still recovering, but he came out and it was really cool. Like, I don't know, like when he came out, it was like all eyes on him, all the NBA execs in the gym, just eyes on him. And he walks in and then he starts taking free throws. He starts going through his thing and he starts shooting from outside and he was like hitting everything. And I was like standing next to him and I'm just like, you're huge. Like you're every bit 6'6". Your arms are crazy. Your hands are huge. And I'm just like, you've got incredible physical gifts and talents, but then also you're here shooting the cover off the ball and you're not even like 100% healthy right now. And I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. And to watch him so far early on in this NBA season for a Memphis team that is going through some stuff, Corey.
I've heard.
They've got some stuff going on. They're trying to figure things out with their coach. Jaren Jackson's playing, John Morant's playing. They're all playing, but it hasn't been the smoothest, right? But in the minutes that I've seen from Cedric Coward, this guy, man, like I want to highlight, obviously me being a Knicks fan, watching him play the Knicks the other night. There is this one play where Deuce McBride is making a drive from the right wing to the basket. And his man's like bodying him up, but out of nowhere, Cedric Coward comes to help. And he was like a condor, just like the height that he got with the length of his arms and his giant mitts, just absolutely volleyball spiked the ball. And I'm like, what is your what is your ceiling, bud?
Yeah.
What does this become? How high can we dream where if we don't dream big enough Tyler Rucker will tweet us on Twitter and say, dream bigger. Because I'm starting to wonder if there's like a Kawhi Leonard outcome for this guy.
Yeah.
Not saying that that'll happen, but I think it's on the cards now. The ability that he has on both ends of the floor, and he's playing at such a confident, a competent level as a I almost said freshman, as a rookie for this Memphis Grizzlies team. It's been phenomenal to watch Corey, and he's so impactful on both ends of the floor. And it's a situation where when he's catching and shooting from outside, my brain is like, that's going in. It's going, and he's currently shooting 37.5% from three. He's taken, let's see, I want to make sure I get these numbers right. He's taken 4 attempts per game right now. Pretty good clip. And then how about this one? Free throw percentage, 89.6%.
Yeah.
We happen to like guys like that, Corey. And so my thing with him is, so far, I don't think his rookie season, the start to his rookie season, could go any better. He's really highlighting his abilities on both ends of the floor. And if this is what he's going to do as a rookie, what the hell are we talking about in a couple of years is kind of where I'm kind of what I'm feeling right now.
No, I mean, because his skill set allows him to be such a versatile player in any kind of lineup, because you're seeing what he looks like in a role where he doesn't have to carry the load, right? And that'll be a question for him as he develops. But like, ultimately, he's going to get reps on the court to get opportunities to show more, because he is so competent in excelling at being a star in his role. And, you talk about the shooting, those numbers, fantastic. And it's like, he's not just standing in the corner. He's doing a little off movement, not like, Kyle Korver, JJ Redick kind of actions, but like, he's still like shooting off movement, flares, pin down, whatever. He's doing it in transition. He's showing a little creativity in transition where he's getting to like some step back stuff that looks super confident. His shot prep is unbelievable. He's always shot ready, right? So if you're always shot ready, when that ball comes to you, you don't have to think, you don't have to hesitate. And that's allowing him to kind of close out. And then you're seeing some of the touch, when he's attacking those closeouts, you're seeing him in his ability to use that length with extension finishes to finish at the rim. He's making smart passes. He's not going to compete with Ja Morant as like the point guard on the team, but you see the sharp decision-making. I mean, and you look at just like what he could become because of who he is now, you do start thinking of those high-end outcome names, because what he does is impactful to winning basketball games. And I mean, who knows what direction this Grizzlies team decides to go. Do they keep John, try to work it out? If they do, then he could be like a wing sidekick that could be, taking over that Desmond Bane role, which is something that, they're going to need as from the perimeter as a shooter, because I think he's got more juice than Jalen Wells does. And if they move on, then you have Cedric Howard, Zach Edey, Jalen Wells, and Jaren Jackson as your core building blocks. And that's really interesting too. And if that's the way you go, then now you start thinking of like, all right, well, it might happen quicker. And I think he's going to be ready for it, because there is a maturity to him as a person, as well as to his game. And as, like you said, the two-way impact, because of his giant hands, his crazy length, when we've seen guys like that, you mentioned Kawhi, Jalen Williams, was another guy, mid-major, that crazy wingspan. And Jalen in college was more creative as a handler and as a passer. Yeah. But we've seen like the rope that these guys get to develop and how quick it could happen. And I think Cedric might get there in that same kind of time frame.
Yeah, Corey. I mean, obviously, to your point, this Ja situation is, we don't know. It could get explosive here. We don't know how this is going to turn out. It also might turn out well, right? Where they figure things out, and maybe it's just an early season blip on the radar where, they had to work some things out and everything gets a lot cleaner from here. But to your point, like, let's say they do decide to trade Ja Morant, right? We also have to consider what they end up getting back for him, right? Maybe they end up getting someone who really fits in with this roster and the timeline and all that stuff. And then, I don't know, maybe there's some sort of synergy that happens from that, and then they end up with a good draft. I don't know. Anyway, the main thing that I wanted to say with Cedric Howard is that it's been really impressive to see him playing at this high level, but also not very surprising. From what we saw in person and what we saw on film, Corey, this was all on the cards, and why draft Twitter was so in love with him, and a lot of our guys were really in love with him and super high on him. And this is not time to take a victory lap and be like, oh look, we're all right. But I'm just more excited to see what this looks like, how his journey goes. And my biggest thing with him is I have this weird thing about like when things are going really well, I'm always worried about like the other shoe falling. And I just hope he stays healthy. That's my biggest thing. I really want him to stay healthy. I hope he continues to develop well on this Memphis Grizzly team, and I think it's because he's on this team, and this team has had such bad injury luck. And they're still waiting on Edie to get back, and you never know with Jaren Jackson and Ja and all this stuff. So I hope he stays healthy, but the skill and the ability that he has is frightening. It's absolutely frightening.
And you love to see it from a guy who is an older prospect too, right? Like not this 5-star freshman. He had this, really awesome journey filled with adversity that I think shapes a mentality that you have. And I think it's helped him become the kind of player he has. He's always been super self-aware based on, what we've heard. And I think that drives you to be the best player you could be when you come from that kind of situation, because you can appreciate it. You could be like, dude, I was in a D3 gym playing just a few years ago, and now I'm a positive contributor as a rookie in the NBA. So I don't think it's out of the question that he becomes a really special player. And I think it's likely, to be perfectly honest, because he has the tools, he has the measurables, he's got the skill set. This is a kid who looks like he has it all. Like you said, let's just pray for that health.
Yeah. And Corey, can we do this? Can we do some like really quick hits
for
rookie ROI before we go? Because there are a couple of guys that I want to run by you, because I know you're going to have a lot to say. Okay. The 2 Charlotte guys.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking, and it could be more than 2, because I think Sion James has been playing well for them too. Kon Knueppel, Ryan Kalkbrenner. With Kon, there's something that I wanted to highlight, because this really, like, I don't know. Anyway, I think he's playing like a very mature game. Obviously, he had the big game the other night in the NBA Cup game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Something that I saw on film that got me really excited that I wanted to highlight is they didn't do a ton of this early on in the season, but in this last game against Milwaukee, especially down the stretch, they started using Kon as a screener a little bit for LaMelo. And it opened up some really nice looks for Kon as like this little, like, kind of picking and popping and stuff like that. And I'm like, I really enjoy Kon's game because he has no ego and he can do so much. And then also the fact that like when he turns the corner, he's just going to get downhill. And then when he plays off too, like he's so intelligent and nuanced about what he does with that. Anyway, really fun to watch Kon. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner, I mean, he just looks like he's just doing what he was doing in college, and he just brought it to the NBA level. Some of the stats I wanted to highlight: he's 2.4 blocks per game, but then block percentage 8%, just doing a really great job of protecting the rim. And then also he's like on a historic run. He's like shooting 80% from the field. I think 80% is pretty good. Like imagine you were batting like 800 in baseball. That happens to be incredible. But I wanted to highlight those 2 guys, and I wanted to kind of get your thoughts too.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this draft for them being like the culture draft. Like get the guys who are going to set the tone for the type of team you want to become. And grabbing Kon early, I mean, to us, it seemed like a no-brainer because we saw how skilled he was, how valuable he was as a shooter, his feel as a passer. And not only, I think, when you see him being a screener, what it opens up, like when he gets the ball in the short roll, like his ability to spray the ball out and make those quick decisions is really, really intriguing too. But I mean, he's been awesome. What can you say? Already 30 balls, like as a shooter. Like I think that people saw him and they're like, all right, he can't really jump over a piece of paper. He's not the quickest guy. What is this going to look like? And I think what we continue to see, and I think both of these guys are a testament to that, is that like basketball feel is something that like, along with strength, because Kon was always strong. He was always strong, in the pre-draft cycle last year, like in the preseason, I think you called him farm strong when we were watching his AAU tape, or tractor strong. It was something like, like Midwest kid from a farm. But his ability to play a high feel game along with that strength and his skill, obviously, has allowed him to make a seamless transition. And I don't know, like, is he Charlotte's best player long term? I mean, that's not out of the question at all, right? And like, LaMelo's, he's got injury stuff always. Brandon Miller's been an early career injury guy too. Kon looks, he looks like the goods. And then, like you said, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and this is a guy I've seen him so many times in person over the years, being a Big East guy, having him be at Creighton. And I really came around on him last year because I thought he was making like quicker decisions as a ball mover. He started shooting it a little bit more from three, which I never expected to be like a major part of his game. And then I think he opened the year on like a 10-game run where he like just didn't miss shots at the rim. So it was like the same exact thing he's doing right now at the NBA level. So it's like not completely shocking. And then like, we always knew he was a great defender. I think he won Big East Defensive Player of the Year 4 times in his career. So like, it's not it was shocking that he went in the second round. Even if it was early, it was like, well, okay, I get like being a little bit lower, not necessarily wanting to take an older guy in the lottery, because sometimes, if those guys don't show out right away, it's almost like red flag, because it's like you were supposed to be ready for this. You're a little bit older. So that's why teams tend to like lean on the potential of the young guy, because they have a higher like growth plate or larger growth plate. But he should have been a first rounder. He was so good, and he's been so good. And, you have multiple positions locked down for the future as impact guys, and not just fun, flashy, like real deal, like lead to winning basketball. Charlotte, if anything else, whatever wins come this year, don't come, we know that they're going to be setting the foundation, and they're going to be fun to watch.
Yep. And just following up on that, like guys like Sion James and Liam McNeely, like Sion James is playing for them. McNeely, not yet, but a guy I still very much believe in. I think will be a very good NBA player. 2 more guys I wanted to hit on really quickly, Corey. I know we're going a little bit long. First one, Cooper Flagg. So friend of the program, our bud, Kyle Mann, he had a great tweet, I think it was last night. And he was like, Flagg, Peterson, and DeBanza are all about 2 months apart. And Boozer is only 6 months younger than them. And so he was saying how, like, if Cooper Flagg was in college basketball right now, he'd be putting up like 30 a game. Obviously, he was kidding, right? I don't think he actually believes he'd be putting up 30 a game. But the point being that Flagg hasn't had maybe the sterling start to his rookie season that maybe some people expected. I don't know. But I think he deserves a long runway.
He's been awesome, though. Like,
no,
yes,
I know.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. There's like certain struggles, but he's playing like out of position.
Yes.
As, one of the youngest, like, rookies who are putting up his production ever, obviously kind of toxic situation that hopefully gets sorted out given the circumstances of recent news in that franchise.
Right.
And like, if you were going to put him in a position where he's got to be your number one scorer on night-to-night basis as a rookie who's so young, he's going to be maybe not as efficient as you want him to be. But just watching him, you're like, oh,
yes,
he's going to figure it out. Like,
yes.
He's going to be a guy who's making these shots consistently because he's getting to them seamlessly. Right. It's just going to be about getting reps and then putting a team that actually makes sense around him, which, I don't think they're too far off from doing. And if they move on, obviously Kyrie is going to probably be out for the year, or at least if he sticks with the Mavericks. Anthony Davis is hurt, so they're struggling. The idea of surrounding Cooper Flagg potentially with a Darren Peterson, with a Cam Boozer, with an AJ DeBonza, with a Caleb Wilson for the future is also really exciting if you're a Mavericks fan. So it's like you can be upset about things that have transpired. You can wonder what the future is going to hold, but you have one of the best prospects we've come across in a while in Cooper that you miraculously landed, and you're going to have something good probably coming down the pike if things keep going in this direction. So they're going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, once they stop, they asked him to play point guard. What are we talking about? And obviously with everything going on with that team, a tough one. Last one I want to hit on, Ace Bailey. In his last 4 games, Corey, he's averaging 15.8 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals per game. In those last 4 games, he's 10 for 22 from 3. And I just wanted to highlight it because Ace, like I like this simplified role that they have him playing in.
Yeah.
A lot of spot ups, nice little cuts in the lane, not asking him to do too much. And like as his minutes become more consistent and all that stuff, I think he could make like a late surge up the rookie, whatever. You know, what's Nathan's thing?
The ladder.
Rookie ladder, right?
Yes.
He may go up that rookie ladder by the end of the season and have like a very strong season. But I just wanted to highlight his last 4 games because he looks like he's kind of hitting his groove and he's starting to play more comfortable and like he's just doing what he's being asked to do. And so I'm excited to see more. So I wanted to hit that too.
Ace is good. He was contentious last year. He's contentious as a rookie this year. I mean, like you said, he's been on a heater over the last 4, even the last 5. He played well. He looked really good in the preseason, right? Then he had like a little thing where he missed some time, had some rookie adjustments at the very early part. But man, we've seen him like in practices. We've seen him in games. Like we knew what his strengths were. We knew what his weaknesses were. And Will Hardy is such a great coach for Ace because he also knows these things and he's going to put Ace in the best position to succeed. And ultimately that's also going to help Ace get opportunities to develop the stuff that turns him into that Paul George kind of guy that people want him to ultimately be. But as long as he's making like sharp, quick decisions, he's going to continue to get minutes, opportunities to flourish, and he's going to do it while learning how to play the right way. This is not a situation where we've seen with teams where there's no structure and guys learn bad habits. Like Ace is going to learn good from bad when it comes to those shots, habits, etc. So, he couldn't have ended up in a better place. I know it wasn't initially the place he wanted to end up in, but I think it was the best spot for him to end up in.
No, I agree. I agree, Corey. And I've been happy with what I've been seeing from him recently. So I'm just getting excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And, while we're on Utah, Keontae George he's taking a little step. Not a rookie. Breaking out of the segment, just want to call it out. He was a guy we liked for a while. I know it's been, up and down as a pro, but he looks like he's taken another step forward this year, and he's not even hitting threes yet. So when that does, I think Utah's got some pieces. They're going to be really fun. But guys, great episode, great times had by all today, talking hoops, little NBA draft, closing it out with the NBA at the end. Thank everybody for watching, listening. We love you all. We will be back next week. We appreciate you. Lock in. No ceilings NBA. Till next time, we're out. Peace.
Peace.